In this video, I am working on an abstract pastel and using Collage and Pan Pastel. I've taken some strips of leftover Reeves BFK printmaking paper and I'm applying some different colors of Pan Pastel with one of the Pan Pastel sponge applicators. I'm preparing two different pieces of the paper with, the colors that you see there, mostly with the orange and neutrals and pinks, a few of the grays, and then I'm going to tear these up for my collage. The next thing I'm doing is taking another sheet of Reeves BFK paper. I decided to use a square, and I'm putting down some fluid acrylic washes with, kind of a dusty mauve and some yellow ochre and leaving some open spaces. And I'm going to dry this underpainting, and that is what I'm going to use as the basis for my collage pieces. So it's really experimental and I never know how it's going to end up, but it is a lot of fun to work on. So I'm adding a little bit more color with the yellow ochre and leaving some of those white open spaces because they become part of the design also. Well, now I've got my prepared paper that I'm going to tear up, that where I put the Pan Pastel marks on it, and I also have the underpainting on the Reeves BFK paper. I'm doing a little bit of random mark making with some charcoal, graphite, and I'm going to do some tearing of the paper into different shapes and deciding what kind of shapes I want to use, where I'm going to place those. So this is really, like I said, very experimental. I like the edges of the torn shapes. A lot of times I'm using those in the finished piece because it creates a really nice line. And I tear a lot of organic shapes, but sometimes I like to really get kind of a straight line in there also. And also sometimes I flip that paper over and I use the white shape on the back. So just a lot of tearing and placing and looking to see what places do I want to leave without collage, because I don't want to cover the whole thing with collage. I want to have some areas where there aren't any. And this is a very small piece of paper, so it really is kind of a practice piece. Now that I have these arranged the way that I want them, I'm using a stiff bristle brush and some Yes paste, and I'm putting that on the back and then placing it on the prepared paper. So, and it glues really well. There are a lot of different things that you can use for this step, but I've used this Yes paste before and it works really well. Well, I've got everything arranged the way that I want it and glued down, and next step is going to be to put some ground on top of this so that I can create a sanded surface for my pastels to stick to. And in this work, I'm going to use some golden ground for pastel. And I use a wet brush so that I can dilute it just a little bit, and really I just brush it over the whole surface, and then I'll dry it with my hair dryer. What is that? Nice red violet, blue violet. So it's really fun to find shapes, look for shapes, to go over some edges, to bring some of the collage shapes together with some of the underpainting
Nice color. It
that
just
I
looks
did with the
white,
fluid
but it really
acrylic
is
and
more of a
create some
warm
other things with mark
gray.
making
It's
and
too
line
bright.
and just see what I can find and what I can discover with the technique of using collage and pastel. So I hope that you will give it a try. Collage can be used in so many different ways, and I found it a lot of fun and exciting to use that with pastel also.